We got some awesome people in the building today. We got Icon, we got Exile, and we got a very special guest in the building. I'm a big fan. Mac J in the building. Welcome.
Long overdue.
Yes.
Overdue.
Yes, I know. And it was great when you reached out. I'm like, man, I've always wanted to talk in depth about a lot of different things with you because, it's funny because we had humble beginnings on Crooklyn Clan back in the day. And your path and your trajectory has been stellar, and not only from a skill and musician standpoint, but from a business standpoint.
Thanks.
And that's what I really want to unpack with you. And I was joking with you earlier, like, man, it's been a long time since I've seen you in person, and I was really excited to watch you play at Excess. This is just going down memory lane real quick, but like watching you play at Excess, and if you're not familiar with Mac J, like. This is somebody that comes from, kind of, I would say, like, it's fair to say open format.
For sure. Yeah.
And, the razor sharp jump into electronic music production and just utilizing that, getting on great stages here in Las Vegas. Absolutely crushed it when I saw you. Shout out to Warren Peace. He was the one that introduced us. So it's really cool to have you here at the table. And I think the first thing I just want to kind of just crack the shell on is, like, this is a very broad question, but how do you jump from just being an enthusiast and a creative and talented individual, and how do you just get into that career mode? Like, what got you into that career mode?
Starting heavy, I appreciate it. Good question.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's long overdue here. We're both now. Everyone's at 7:02 locals
This is
here.
like a 3-hour podcast.
Damn. How do you get into the business? I think the timing was a lot different back in the day. As much as I don't want to admit that, timing was everything with electronic music.
Yeah. What year was that? Like, let's kind of set the stage.
This was when AM was really popping. Shout out to like Politic, Marshall Barnes, Vice, Kevin Scott, all these guys.
Like 2014-ish?
Earlier than that. I would say
like
Banana
Split
so
Days?
20 Banana Split Tuesdays, yes.
Boom.
Playhouse Mondays,
Yeah.
Truesdale Thursdays. Like,
So was this before he came to Vegas to do Body English? This was like when he was just in LA?
I remember him doing a rain show at Palms. I remember watching that video a couple times, and like Benny Benassi was the next day. But it was the mega nightclub night.
Right.
So I want to say 2011.
Yeah.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
I was 21 at the time.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Yeah. I remember spending my 21st birthday with Politic at the Chandelier Room at Marquee.
Wow.
Which was wild. How I got into the business was very bizarre. I am not from a musical background at all. Like, my parents can't even hum. Like, there's no key. my dad would try and it'd be like, okay, it's a little much. But for me, I kind of understood that there was a missing piece in all of the nightclubs when electronic music wasn't in the States. And when it started to really become a thing, of course, there's Chicago House and all the different territories that house was a thing. But like, you look at LA market, it was hip hop for the longest time in open format. Mm-hmm. And when I started seeing a huge transition was when, we talked about this, when Afrojack was coming, when they did the No Beef. But before that, it was like LMFAO was a thing, Hyper Crush. And I remember seeing Hyper Crush in Sacramento, and it was like the craziest thing.
Oh, yeah.
All the electro stuff.
Yeah, super hard electro stuff. And that's when Bloghouse became a thing. So
I miss that so much. Justice.
Yeah.
Justice, Mastercraft, Bloody Beat Roots.
Right there.
This goes to Aoki as well.
Right.
He was a big starter for the big push of electronic music. And so I don't think a lot of people know that, especially in this day and age. Aoki was a huge person. He had the pickle patch, I think. He was the Block Party's manager, which not a lot of people knew. But he was a big advocate for pushing hard electro in the nightclubs because no one else wanted to do it because promoters were like, what is this shit? It didn't work. People didn't like it. They liked Flow Rider at the time or like hip hop, like R&B, like E40 was really big and Little John. But kind of how I got thrown into it was I was really hyper obsessed with Bloghouse. And so I started seeing the movement of electronic music, and I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. Started listening to a little bit of Armin van Buuren, State of Trance. That became like a routine for me. And I'm like, why isn't this not in the States? But I just wasn't privy to all the other cities that were having like the underground scene. And I just kind of put my 2 feet forward, and I said, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to move to LA and learn how to produce music. I went to Icon Collective, which was probably the reason why I'm sitting here.
Dude, I went to Icon Collective.
There you go.
That's
Shout
great.
out
That's
Icon.
Great, yeah.
So Icon was a huge kind of motivator for me to learn how. I was already DJing. I knew how to make like mashups and edits. Like I was on Sony Acid, Crack for DJs, Crooklyn Clan era.
Yeah.
But to learn the business, you need to know your tools in the toolbox. That's what I was always taught, and I didn't know how to produce music, so I needed someone to show me how to produce music. And Icon Collective was there. It was expensive, but I was able to like barter a trade with them where I was teaching kids how to DJ.
Nice.
Because what do you do after you know how to make music? Most kids.
So you already open format DJ already.
I was I was doing like the college market back in my hometown, but I was opening up for Politica, like Playhouse, like random stuff. Wasn't paying the bills by any means. I didn't have an agent, didn't have a manager. I was just kind of freeballing it. Right. But once I went to Icon, I started to understand like people are only gonna want to come see you if you have your own music.
Right.
And this is when like Geddes started doing a lot of stuff. He was working with. He did like all of the big hits. He did the Kid Cudi Memories.
Well, that was like the famous era for him.
Correct.
Yeah. That's literally that CD was one of the most important things for that transition. And then the Avicii's and all of those mega artists kind of birthed from that, like Afrojack,
Calvin,
like,
all the
literally
the whole era.
From 2010 to 14, it was EDM dominant. And we're talking like it's like changing the channels. Like it was one sound, there was another sound, and another sound came up, and the songwriting was so good.
It was
it was flawless.
It was fresh. It was so new, and it was such a pivotal moment in the EDM industry where people were like, "Whoa, this is the new wave."
And it was fun.
It was fun.
It was so fun.
And I wrote the most messed up shit of like my whole career. I wrote all of my really good records when I didn't have a care in the world. It sounds so cliche, but it's a true thing. Most guys, when they have this no plan B, that was me. I wrote all of my big hits, and the funniest thing was I had a couple artists, Hardwell being included, was like, yo, like, what are you doing with this song? And I'm like, oh my God, this might be my moment. And I would give him a song, and then it turned into one thing, and it never got released. And then a year later, Countdown happened. And it was like, those are the moments that literally made my career, right?
Wow.
So go back to timing. It was all timing, because nowadays, if you have a laptop, you're a music producer. You have Splice, you're a music producer, right? So there's more to it than just, hey, nowadays, there's, hey, back in the day it was, I could just make music, and who's this guy? That's amazing content. Now it's like, you got to be a drug dealer. You have to have more than just producing music. You got to have a business plan. You got to have a great team behind you, because you barely can do it by yourself, because there's so many different things to do. The content, always pushing content, having enough content. You have to have an amazing entertainment value. It's like this rigmarole of insane stuff to have. But back in the day, you just needed one thing. You needed music.
I was about to say that now those things didn't apply in 2012. What you just all mentioned. I mean, it did, but to a certain level. So that's
social media was not, because what was it, Facebook fan pages? That was pretty much the extent of it.
That was it.
I mean, the music spoke for itself.
Yeah.
That's what Mac J. Oh, he's gonna be. I know that song. Boom, I'm gonna go. I don't need to see him on TikTok or anything else.
There wasn't that dynamic of responsibility. It wasn't a responsibility the way it is now. And what you said earlier is like, I think this is a challenging subject for a lot of people, because there are a lot of successful traveling DJs that never really quote unquote had a hit record, but there's a ceiling. Versus when you have a hit record and it goes parabolic, so does your money flow opportunities, but you still have to be ready with the business plan. So it comes back to that. So it's kind of like it's like having a stool with 2 legs versus 3 or 4, where you can really stand on and lean your weight into different things, and having that wisdom and delegation of, okay, I need a team. I need people that are specialists in certain things, so you can still be you and the true talent driver behind it. But yeah, it's being able to, because it's that's a skill in itself. It's just delegation, knowing when to let go of something.
It's white knuckling. You don't want to. You kind of have to let go sometimes.
Yeah. That's been a huge issue for me.
This will put it in big perspective for a lot of guys. In 2014 to 2018, I wrote 12 songs. Last year, I wrote 24 songs, just 1 year. So you could see how much more is put into a brand. I mean, if you go on any record pool, right, you'll see the guys that are actually continuously trying to just hustle. You're selling drugs. That's what the industry is now. You're literally trying to get as much content out there as humanly possible, how fast you can do it, right? And sometimes that requires a team, which all the smart guys, the older guys that have been in this industry for a long time, they can take the storms because they have content literally built up, and they go, it's all good. I got 4 more years of content than I can push out. And this is the big thing, because they have teams. They kind of let go.
Well, and you're also seeing kind of like a vision board. It's like the team has the vision board, so you're not just scrambling. There's a certain level of hustle and patience involved here, because timing is everything. Like what time of the year you release a record matters. Because if you're getting ready for like Ultra in Miami, that pacing of a record that you designed for that scene has to be released at a certain time frame. Obviously, the build up, you know how long it takes to get the record out to people, get on the platforms, promote the record, do PR, all those different things matter. But I think one of the curiosities that especially for your timeline is it's the artist fan dynamic is really crazy, because you're fighting so many other people for fanfare.
For sure.
So the quality has to go up, but the quantity has to go up. Like you just said, like you have to do more of it, but then you also have to nurture your fans in other ways other than just the music. So this nurturing thing has to happen. And do you think that fans care as much? I mean, to their credit, they have a lot to care about, but do you find yourself fighting for the care factor, as far as Mac J is concerned?
I think it's more accessible for everybody. I mean, if you want to look at what anyone's playing on 1001 track list, right? And you could see what a DJ set is. Back in the day, that didn't exist. So there was always this mystique. Who's playing what? I mean, do you remember when AM came out with the Easter egg where he was blocking his screen so no one could see where
Serato,
he's
yeah.
yeah. That was
They actually made a
No train spotting mode.
you can press CC.
train spotting.
Yeah.
That was a game changer, right? Nowadays, it's like, okay, cool. You know the guys that are playing this stuff. So you see the Dom Dollars, the John Summits, the Max Stylers. Like, these guys, they play something and people are like, whoa, what is that? When it comes out, no one cares about it anymore. It's so crazy how fast.
They only want it when you can't have it.
There you go. It's the fast pace. And this is why you guys like Side Piece that are really quality at holding their Side Piece treats, like their remixes and stuff. They're quality at it because they only give it out to the specific guys that will play it, and they make the buzz for them. Back when I started, didn't have that. It was like you sent it to Alesso, you sent it to Hardwell, you sent it to these guys where maybe they would play it at Ultra and it would be this biggest moment, but you would plan for that all year long. Nowadays, it's like, okay, well, Dom is playing tomorrow at Red Rocks, or Martin Garrix is here, or this. It's like there's content every week. So how is that not, it's scary. It's like almost polarizing because there's so much at any given weekend that you just forget about, oh my God, that was a huge moment for my career. On to the next. It's kind of sad, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
it's kind of sad.
Because it's you feel so excited about it, and then you want to share that content. So it's like secondhand content. Hey, so and so played my record, and you get this little flash in the pan, and then somebody else played a different record for somebody else, and it's over.
There's a caveat to that too as well. My biggest thing was when I was sending music to guys, at one point my career was like high trajectory. I could literally collab with anybody and it was an amazing time. But now all these new guys have stepped up in the industry and, transparent, it's my name is tied to a genre that is very hard to break. It's like if Eminem was like, I'm going to make country music, he'd be like, nah, it doesn't really make sense, right? He might be a cool feature on a big song, but it doesn't make any sense. So what happened with the Mac J program for me was it was really hard for me to break the party till we die, the spring and the countdown, because it was always the 911 crate where you're in trouble, you play a Mac J song. And that's what I lived by. But I was one of the only DJs that was like, you know what? I'm not going to have an ego, and I'm going to go into these nightclubs, and I'm going to be like, I can still play hip-hop. I mean, I'll go play 11, then I'll go to Europe, then I'll go to Asia, but play a completely different set, where most guys get stuck playing the same thing over and over and over again. So I took that as an advantage, and this is 10 years now with my career, and I'm able to still say I have a career doing this. But with the Mac J name, it's been hard over the years, where I see a lot of these guys where, times change and sometimes you have to adapt. But if I went out there and was like, I'm going to make John Summit music or Dom Dollar music, it just doesn't make sense. So starting new things and being able to make music for other people is great. I still get my fix, but at the same time, it's a business and I get to try new things.
Well, I mean, not only from your perspective, but other colleagues that you've worked with, like what's the pressure point to, hey, we need to have a new brand? Like what is that pressure point? Because it's a lot of work to start a whole new brand. This has been my frustration because I've wanted to be a house producer under a different name before. And then I realized, man, I can barely keep up with the DeVille Instagram, let alone an entire new business.
That's what happened
plan.
to me too with the Latin. Oh, you're a Latin DJ. I'm like, bro, no, I grew up on hip hop, but
Yeah.
Latin just
Because
became.
there's a certain level of pressure that has to build
they box
for
you
you to
in.
They
justify.
box you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're no performer at DJ. So I know if I'm gonna go see you, you're gonna play your production. And you're like, you know what? It's not a lot of people that like dance music right now. Fuck, I'm gonna do some hip hop shit right now. Some bottle service stuff.
Do you know how hard that is to talk to an artist that's like, I only play EDM? But again, you're sitting here going, all right, you know, sometimes there are moments in your DJ career where you're sitting there going, I know this song's not going to work, but fuck it, I'm going to play it. Fuck it, I'm going to play it. But at the same time, you're sitting there going, you shouldn't play that. Play something where the crowd likes. You know why? Because you'll start seeing people spend money, and then when the top dollar comes in, when you want to get booked again, they're going to be like, he made us money that night. But managers don't tell you this. Agents don't tell you this. They just say, oh, the show was okay, you know, but you'll never go back. That's the difference. It's like understanding that ego doesn't need to be involved in this. Like I've seen guys play at 11. So shout out to Soul Shaver. I've seen guys go play at 11 and play like only EDM, and it's like watching strippers dance to EDM is the most awkward shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's like,
Especially the long breakdown where they're
yeah, exactly. Those girls got to make money. You know what I mean? Like, if any guy's ever been to a
So
strip
true.
club, you don't want to hear a dubstep song at a strip club.
Right,
You're just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
I had a question pertaining to that. Like, I think in dance world, with my business partner does a lot of dance shows. Nightclubs depends a lot on bottle service, and dance shows depends on a lot of tickets. How does that how that world like coming to Vegas because you're also playing at festivals, lineups, and then you're also playing Vegas with bottle room service. Like, how do you? I guess how did you balance that with your agent or you as a person as a DJ doing that? Because dance world feels like it's a ticket seller, but you're also playing at like 11s. You were playing at back in the day at what's that club at Mandalay Bay? You were there. You were a resident there.
Tryst,
yeah.
Excess. Shout out Jesse Waits.
So where I went to go see was
I was at Dre's.
Yeah, so
I don't
all
tickets.
the stuff. Yeah, so
Ticket sales.
because nightclubs don't really care. It's all bottle service for them. That's where the money makers.
Unfortunately, bottle service is at like a peak time low now.
It is. That's what. So
My big thing right now is if you're able to sell tickets, and honestly, not a lot of people sell tickets, and it's a hard thing to say.
Especially
Vegas,
this economy.
especially in Vegas, everything's papered. Like if you see I've seen some text messages.
they
from
don't know what
people
paper
saying,
means. So I know what it means.
So I've seen a ton of texts from promoters saying, "Oh, we sold for probably a top 10 DJ in the world. They're paying $250 to $300 a night, if not probably more. I'm probably really off with that number, and they're selling 25 tickets for the night."
Yeah.
It's common. I know you guys probably have this conversation all the time and having guys on. And
see it all the time.
I can't say who, but at the same time,
I
it's
see it
a
all the
real.
time.
I mean, it's just it's
I see it.
reality.
It's real.
Yeah.
But at the at the end, I would say because the way Vegas works, it's about like getting high rollers in. You're not buying a ticket; they're buying $200,000 worth of bottles.
That's where the money's at for them.
That's the point. So like tickets are so trivial in Las Vegas. So for the defense of like the biggest names, they're bringing in high rollers to spend like bottle money. Like a paper tickets for more of a festival scenario for GA, where you have the ability to sell 50,000 tickets at Ultra or whatever. So it's a different cash flow dynamic. Because I know it's easy to pick on Vegas, just because like when the economy's low, Vegas gets low. It's a beacon for highs and lows. So I think we have to give Vegas its credit and its defense, because when people don't have a lot of expendable cash, they don't go to Las Vegas. They stick around, but they go to festivals in their hometowns. They still spend money. It's just a different spend. And I'm also seeing that with a lot of artists / DJs. They're doing a lot more pop-ups. They're doing smaller like hometown festivals, and just getting more creative. Is that what are you embracing? Like what do you, as far as the brand goes, like what fits you?
A lot to unpack there. So you're right on the money. Vegas is always it's the beacon of you blame Vegas, right? There was always a syndrome that went around when it was peak 2016, when money was just falling out of thin air, and every DJ was getting way more than they ever should.
Yes.
But
including all of us, like
Yeah.
even like before,
Anybody.
like guys, you just roll in and be like, "Damn, I'm making this much money. This is crazy."
no one wanted to say anything, but everyone knew it was never going to last.
Yeah.
I would walk in and be like, okay.
These facts, though. These facts.
But I think Vegas right now is like everywhere else in the market. Like I was in Nashville last weekend. I have New York this weekend. It's all everything is struggling, but at the same time, you're right on the money. Everyone's trying to be more creative. The more pop-ups, which is super smart. But it's just trying to get people to say, hey, I want to go to a nightclub nowadays is almost, it's like a bad word. Nightclub is literally a bad word now. So you look at like Diplo, he's doing the run club stuff. Intelligent, super savvy. He started that, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. But you look at like health and wellness, that's becoming a thing because people still want to go experience. They want to have these, oh, hey, babe, let's go to Diplo's run club on a Saturday. Well, how much running are we actually going to do? It's only a mile, but we get to go to a rave. Yeah. So it's all the same. You know what I mean?
You get to record that shit.
You get to record it and say you were there.
100%.
It's all the experience, right? So Vegas kind of lost the shine in the last couple of years. I know Vegas is always going to be around. It will always be around. Yeah. There needs to be more of a, I feel like the classic Vegas needs to come back, but as guys that we've been in the scene for a long time and seen Vegas at its peak, I mean, I haven't even been here for 5 or 6 years living here full time, but back when I was coming here full as a resident DJ, the moments where you would land and be like, this is Vegas, this is insanity, right? You would go to any nightclub, it'd be packed, there'd be a line for girls and guys. You'd cherry pick which girl you would want to come into the club. Nowadays it's like, here, come see this person for free, right? It's just the time, economy, it is what it is. But the tickets for me are a big thing. You get like the John Summits who are incredibly smart and his whole team is like, you know what? We're actually doing more numbers if we do our own festivals than an EDC or an Ultra. So they're doing their own festivals. I mean, like John is smart. He does the Experts Only Festival the same week of Winter Music Conference, right? And he's doing...
That made him a rebel and it actually bigged up his brand. I remember when that happened.
Sure. He's smart.
He actually stood down the machine of Ultra and said, hey, I'm going to do my own thing right next door.
It's the power, right? Once you know that you're selling, let's just say 10 to 15,000 tickets, it's endless. And that's crazy because most of those people that go to those shows, they're not really buying alcohol. They're doing other things, right? Because alcohol's too expensive. What are you going to $22 Red Bull and vodka, right? It doesn't happen anymore. So when these fans are going to the shows, to the pop-ups, right? You get sponsors to sponsor it. And that's where the money is made, right? You get people to sponsor the events. So you're not losing. You're already net profit, right? You get a lineup. You have your label, Experts Only. You get that lineup, and you're like, cool, I get to support the people that I've supported on my label. But at the same time, you know, this is the biggest thing that we could do, and we're doing 15 to 20,000 tickets. Oh, let's make this brandable and make it worldwide. That's the game changer right there.
Well, and it's also like with a record label can be a brand, can be a party, can represent a lineup. That's what I think is so cool because like I got to see Elro at Excess. I think it was right before COVID.
Pretty cool.
And a lot of people didn't understand you were walking into an environment. This was a saturation. Like they basically did a pop-up inside the club.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were confused thinking they were just going to see a normal big room EDM set, but this was like European deep tech house.
With all of the
With
decorations.
the vines and
I mean,
everything.
it's a production, you know, but that's what you want. That's the experience, right? And Europe has been doing that for decades, right? You go you go for the experience and you don't feel bad spending the money. And that is where I feel like people are truly missing. It's because even if they don't go to the experience, they're able to see it the next day on their phones, laying in bed and going, hey, babe, I'm so glad we did do that.
Speaking about experience, my bad. About experience and nightclub being dead. I noticed again with my partner, he owns I do the Latin stuff, he does the dance stuff. 360 sets, people, I've seen artists perform at, I don't want to say I was about to drop the name, at nightclubs in Vegas, but they'll do better in downtown, more intimate spots, like 1,200 cap rooms instead of a 2,000 cap room with bottle service. Do you think dance music is in a place where like people don't want to go to the big, like Gen Z doesn't want to go to the big clubs to see these guys. They'd rather go to a festival or smaller 360 experience. I feel like that's where like it's big right now. Like I feel like that's what's wrong with a lot of stuff in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, again, Vegas is like, not blaming Vegas. It's a good target to say everything bad about Vegas. But again, when you go to a Vegas nightclub, it's not just going to a nightclub. You got to park. You go to dinner before, you want to get a cocktail before, you got to divert a lot of crowds because you're walking to the casino. I mean, it's just, that's Vegas, you know?
Gotcha.
Talking to a Gen Z person about it, it's like they don't want to do that shit, right?
Yep.
So them going to Fremont Street, you know, like I know Ryan Doherty does a lot of amazing events. Jonathan Jostle's doing those big Fremont parties now, which is amazing.
That's what I'm talking. I'm mostly in downtown, and I see the difference of just just in dance music versus like nightclubs in Vegas versus downtown. I'm like, wow.
They're also free.
Yeah.
True.
Are you seeing a lot of like? So I work in this office, and in my office I have a bunch of kids. Well, I call them kids, but they're like Gen Z, right? Like 18 to like 24, right?
The good lingo.
Yeah. So when I talking to them, like they don't go to nightclubs because to them it's they only go out a couple times a year. It's birthdays, and then they save all their money for festivals. That's where that's what they want to do. Like to them, like going out to a nightclub, it just isn't even. It's not even on the radar. But
If
like
they
to your
had
point,
money,
they'll go
though,
downtown.
that's the thing. Like if people had money to burn, of course they're going to go out. Do you remember at the time when you would get two tables competing with each other, how much they would spend, and they weren't even drinking the alcohol? And
So
you're
you don't think it's drinking? You think it's just the con, and people don't have the money? Okay,
I just think it's one of those things where people are just not wanting to spend, even if they do have cash, they don't want to go out and spend $300-400 on a night when it's, hey, I can go experience that at a more intimate venue, going to the 360 sets or seeing someone that I would never be able to see, but it's not at a casino. But that's not just in Vegas. That's everywhere.
Okay.
So a lot of the nightclubs too are experiencing that as well, domestically. And like I was just in Asia a couple of weeks ago, and it's the same thing there. Asia used to be the foreground of big room and big stuff. I mean, there were Asia and like mainland China.
Which cities did you go to just recently?
I was in Tokyo.
Tokyo?
Yeah, it's always small rooms in Tokyo.
Yeah.
You're never going to go to a mega
yeah.
nightclub. And, you know, I would say mainland China has been a huge portion of my career because the sound that I was producing was a big staple over there. I mean,
Yes.
Party Till We Die was like the national anthem. It was the funniest thing ever, but hey, shout out to China.
Yeah.
I understood that they were a little further behind with the music, but then I realized they're not far behind. They just really like 128 to 135. But what they're really into now is like hard style.
Yeah. It shifted.
It shifted big, but they would never book like a big house act, like a slow 126.
Right.
That's just not their
That was
speed.
for the Euro lounges.
Yes.
Like for the foreigners.
Yeah,
You'd see
yeah.
Or the
like
Afro house stuff.
Never.
Exactly.
Never.
Because I lived in Shanghai.
Yeah, never, dude.
It was always
Slow,
the.
literally.
But yeah, it's, I just think it's one of those things where every single economy is different, every territory is different.
Yeah.
There's not
The business
every-
game's on point, man.
I mean, I've had amazing
Like, your
advisors.
business
Thank
stuff's
you.
on point.
I've had amazing advisors my whole life, and
Yeah.
I've always trusted people that I've worked with, and I've kept the same team for a very long time.
And this is why
I've understood a lot of the value is trust. Everything is trust in this game. And I see a lot of artists, you know, they're like, oh, I'm running through my 12th manager. And I'm just like, oh my God. I understand everyone makes different changes in their life. But sometimes you really have to look at, whoa, maybe the problem isn't everyone else I blame because I'm making money and I'm relevant. Maybe if I work with the same people that know me and they trust me, we can all be transparent and make the same moves together.
Yes.
That's
Can
how
you
my idea has been.
kind of explain, because like I'm fascinated by this myself, but I know to the people that are like listening, this is like you just said something that's like so interesting. At what point in your career did you know that like, hey, I need a team, and then how did you find that team? Because I can't even tell you how many people hit me up and are like, I need a manager. Well, do you need a manager? How do you get a manager? At what point do you know you need a manager?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot there.
Yeah. My kind of idea of manager, I'm a cheap person. Like if any of my boys listen to this, they'll be like, dog, he's so frugal. Again, you know, it's one of those things where you need someone to give it to you straight. Like it's very cliche to say, if you want to have good advice, send your shit to your mom.
Right.
She'll always say it's good. But if you if you want your homies to give you it too straight, they need to be your homies. Like your ride or dies, you send your songs to them, like, hey, bro, this just kind of sucks. You know, do this. They'll give it to you straight. But at the same time, I think nowadays when people say, hey, how do I find a manager? How do I do this? How do that? I think the most important people in the game right now are agents. They're the ones that call the shots. And dealing with people with money is the first way you're going to lose friendship, which I've always been a big advocate for. When I see open format guys, I'm like, how are you booking shows? They're like, oh, myself. And I'm like, damn, you probably could be getting 5X what you're getting because you're dealing directly. You're not having some guy be the bad word for you, which that's business. You need that person.
You need them. Yep.
You need the back end to do your dirty work for you. Sure, that's the best way I could say.
Who was the guy from Entourage?
Ari Gold.
Ari,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. No, it's
Give
so
me the
true.
hummus.
But this is true. You
Yeah.
do.
You
Every
know,
time we
it's
talk to
so
an agent,
true.
he's usually the dick, and everyone else is nice. But he's doing his job. He's probably not even that kind of person.
Yeah.
It's part of
Yeah.
the game.
No, the best advice Vice ever gave me was that right there. He goes, "Why I'm so popular? Because I enter the club and I leave the club as the good guy. Sugent, on the other hand, is the one that's like, yo, man, where's my fucking money at?
But it's
He's
true,
like,
though.
He's like, I don't have any of those conversations with people, and I'm always brought back. And it's so true, though. Like, it's so true.
It is. You want, you have a team for a reason. You're paying them a big percentage, and so the big idea is you don't want to have to do the dirty work. There have been moments where I've gone to a promoter and been like, hey, bro, you should book me on this. And they're like, yeah, cool. How much you want? It's like, I can't pay that Mac J rate, but I'll do this, I'll do that. And I'm like, well, deal with my agent. Well, then the deal's done, right? So there are moments that sometimes you do a little elbow rubbing, it might get you through, but that's just having good reputation.
Sure.
I'll hit up guys I'll hit up Saul Schaefer. I'll be like, hey, bro, give me an 11. I'm in Palm Beach for New Year's. Just put me on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool, we'll pay you this, that. But I'm doing it directly. I still pay my agent for it. But at the same time, back to your question, do you need a manager? Do you need an agent? This is going to give me a lot of shit. You don't really need a fucking manager. Managers, until you get to a point where it's just overwhelming, then a manager is required. Because the 15% is a high tax for what you're doing. I've had a manager through a lot of my career, but then again, I've always been like, what am I paying this person for? I'm doing literally everything. What you need in this business, I hope people can take this. You need a business manager that's going to do your books, pay your taxes. There's this company. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to go down this route. There's a company that all these DJs used to be signed to called Thomas St. John. Worst business manager of all time. It was like the biggest names in the game, and they used a big guy to go as their poster boy. And if you look it up, you'll know who that big guy is. I remember going to that office, and then they're like, yeah, we have this, we're doing these big things, and you'll be part of the roster. And it was like specifically for artists and DJs. It was a business manager for
Not familiar
this.
with this.
It was 2014, 15.
Okay.
Now, Eric Prydz, Calvin Harris, they're all coming out with these public statements now saying this, they've ripped me off, this and that. And I remember walking out of the place and I looked at my manager at the time and went like, I'm not giving them my money. It was just a weird feeling. It's like when you date that like really sketchy girl and you're like, I know there's so many red flags, but she's so hot. They have all the names, they have all this, but get a business manager that's going to do stuff for you that you don't have to worry about. Like when April comes around, people are like, I don't know how to pay my taxes. I'm glad I had a good person that was keeping my books.
Can you repeat that, please? There's so many DJs that need to hear that right there.
You can do whatever you want with your taxes, but hey, I love America and I love the IRS, okay? Pay your taxes, have someone do your books.
Yep.
It is one of those things where it's going to keep a business alive, and then you're going to learn a lot of the back. And I can tell you on every single moment of talking to these artists that most of them don't even know how to write checks. It's crazy, So good business manager is crucial. But I think the best thing I could ever put in front of someone is getting a amazing lawyer. And it's not someone who you think. It's not like, someone that's going to go to litigation
Shapiro.
for you. Yeah. Like Better Call Saul. No.
If the glove fits, acquit.
Exactly. I think the biggest thing is people have such a different idea what lawyers do for you. I have a guy that has been working with me for like 8 years now, and he is not someone that just, approves contracts and not. Again, you think managers would do this. No. They send it to a lawyer, right? My thing is with lawyers, they find me deals to work on because they're the ones with their ear on the ground because it's usually at a big firm, right? And so they're the ones taking meetings for you. They're the ones going and meeting artists. It's like that's what a music attorney should be doing for you. So it's a different way of me just having experience in the game and gone through a lot of crazy shit in my career where I've learned from the downs and I've learned from the highs. But my biggest thing is a good business manager and a good attorney. Managers can be there, but managers, shout out to all the managers, but they're bona fide babysitters. I hate to fucking say they are babysitters. They make sure you're getting shit done on a timely manner. They want to make sure that their reputation is like, we're only going to send this to the big names, and if they see my name, they'll accept it because I have a roster of people. Managers have this weird stigma in EDM now where it's like, well, if you're not doing the festivals and you're not doing the big things, like, what are you doing? You're not making the music. Are you putting deals into place? No, that's what your lawyer's supposed to do. Are you reviewing the contracts? No, that's what your lawyer's supposed to do. You're sending it. So what's that 15% going to? It's a list of things that I've seen more people be successful because they've kind of let go of saying they need a manager because they're doing it all themselves already. Mm-hmm. So why do you need to bring someone else to cut a huge portion of what you're making? And the last thing I'm going to say about this is most of the time when I see people hire managers, they think 15% is standard. No. Most managers are getting way less because you can negotiate. In the state of California, agents and managers are set at a strict level where every agency is like 10%. Nah, you literally barter with agencies how much you want to pay them. But everyone just thinks it's 10 or 15%.
Yeah, it's negotiable.
It's negotiable,
yeah.
Right? But again, like business manager over the years was like, hey, Mac, we see that your agency at the time is holding all your money once a month because they are your employer, I guess. But a lot of artists are getting money directly deposited from the nightclubs and festivals because the agency was taking that and putting it into a money market. And so they were utilizing the cash flow because they're paying you once a month. Yeah. So they're utilizing that cash flow. And so now having money directly to the artists, you pay out the agencies and you pay out your managers, but you're able to take the money that the agency was holding, put it into a money market. That's 6.5% that you can make off the money that was being held. You weren't touching that money until the end of the month. Dave Chappelle taught me that.
Wow.
Crazy, dude. I never knew that. But you got to be making an astronomical amount of money. But these agencies are. Right. They're making, I would say, 30 to 40 million a month off of shows. I mean, it's everything.
Wasserman, all
everything. So they're centralizing the money that comes in and what they do with it, and they put it into a money market.
Yeah, that's there's more pie, there's more to slice.
They should have a credit card. They should literally have their own credit card.
Seriously? Yeah. Wow.
It's small things like that where the only thing that I was able to learn that, I do read a lot, which is great, but my lawyers and my business managers, it's like you trust people you work with. So that was the rigmarole on that one. Trust the people you work with.
Oh, that's really awesome. And from that business standpoint, like these are like, for me, it's kind of like badly kept secrets that sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what to search for. And it's always been a confusion factor for me because, like, talk about the white knuckle, I just try to do everything. And there's only 24 hours in a day. And I noticed that the most successful people really know how to build a ladder. And, you're kind of holding the ladder and these rungs support you. And that's all these rungs are important. They're all part of the assembly. So it's really cool to hear, like, actually the behind the scenes factor of it. But I want to we were talking about genre switching earlier, but I want to talk more about the actual set and trends that are happening with sets. And for the longest time, there has been this manic trend, especially because of TikTok. But are you seeing that certain brands and artists are kind of using more musicality? Things are shifting, or do you think certain brands can leverage that, like almost like channel switching every 20 seconds? What do you see as a trend going into next year?
That was my question. How do you keep up with the times with everything?
Honestly, again, I have an amazing team. I don't want to go to nightclubs. Like, I work in a nightclub. The last thing I want to do is be like, I want to go see that new artist. Dude, like a perfect night is I'm in bed by 7:30. I wake up at 5. My chick is up super early, and it's a different time for me. This is me saying I'm old. But I think where music is going now, it's kind of funny. I think it's going reverse. People want to hear classics. They want to hear old with new. They want to hear classic vocals on newer stuff. They want to have we call them reinterpolations. Yes. And that was a big thing over the years. But now it's becoming such a thing where a lot of these catalog sellers are saying, cool, we want people to redo this because this is how we're making money. The KKR is big financial equity firms. They own a lot of these catalogs, right? So they're giving easy distribution to a lot of these Cobalts, the big publishing companies, and they're saying, yes, we want DJs to remix this stuff because that's the only way that it's getting any traction. Unless, my parents want to listen to a Billy Joel song, they'll go on Spotify and look it up. But if someone remixes that and it becomes viral on TikTok, that's a whole new demographic that it just hit 15, 20 years later.
I feel like Wookiee tapped into that heavy.
100%. Yeah. He is. It's funny, too, because, him and I, we've never really been like super friend, like we're friends, but we've only talked via WhatsApp for a long time. And it's funny because he will send me edits, I'll send him edits, and then it's like, dude, all of these are old with new, and they work so well.
do.
Yeah.
You know,
They
and
do.
he is. There's a guy that we have to take. And we have to say, Joe Pepin. He was the guy that helped him with a lot. Wookie helped with a lot of records. He's the guy that gets reinterpolations across the finish line.
Oh, wow.
He's the guy. Joe
Okay.
Pepin. He used to be my. He was Bingo Player's tour manager when I was on the bus tour, the Rattle and Roll tour.
Whoa.
And that's where I met him. And then we crossed paths and we started talking. And he helped me with a couple clearances. And he was like, "Yeah, I helped with Wookie with was it Sunshine? The
I heard
Temptations."
that. I heard that in Ibiza.
Yeah, the
when Fisher
Temptations.
played
Crazy.
it. Blew my mind.
Crazy.
That's the one song I remember from that whole set.
Yeah, right. Because it's old
Incredible.
with new.
Yeah.
I think, back to your question, I think the idea with music nowadays is I could blame TikTok, I can blame Instagram. That's just me being old, right? But the biggest thing for me is I think that people want to see what it used to be like. And people want to go back, but they don't want to really go back. They want the new fresh stuff, but you see like in Europe, they're doing these amazing underground raves and it's like all this crazy shit, all these TikTokers, but at the same time, that's like old school shit. That's like
90s.
Bernheim. That's super
Warehouse
old school.
shit. Yeah.
Warehouse
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
People want to see old, but they also want to see new.
Yeah.
But then, it's Snake had an interview. I don't know if it was on this. It was like someone's interview where he was like, all the TikTok trends are kind of cringy. It's been cringy. But a lot of these labels still base all of their, I would say, their pitching power. You need to make a TikTok viral hit. And it's like, those are the worst words in history. Like an A&R telling you,
Yeah.
it needs to be viral on TikTok. You're like, oh my God, you're making my life.
I feel like that's what happened to hip hop because I've heard numerous hip hop artists talk about on interviews that they were told to write songs for hooks. And now all of a sudden there's no hip hop in the top 100 for the first time
It's
in
a
30
bad
years.
time for hip hop
It's
right
a
now.
bad
Yeah, I don't know if that's a
time.
correlation,
Jeez.
but I might have
Yeah.
be a part of it.
As much as I want to say that I pay attention to the hip hop stuff, I stopped paying attention to hip like a new age hip hop like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
don't.
Sexy
preach
Red's the
on,
only
bro.
thing. Sexy Red's the only thing in Drake. That's it.
It's crazy.
Dude, it's so bad.
You could tell though firsthand on the record pools. You know what I mean? Like you go on any record pool and you're like, wow, there's no hip hop.
There's literally
top
nothing
10.
charting.
Well, hold on. There's a hip hop mashup. With the old school hip hop over new, and it's like, okay, I see where the trends are going, right?
Well, okay, from so just DJ to DJ, what percentage of your set in general is originals versus edits
Great question.
versus a little bit of hip hop or like straying off the path?
And at festivals and at clubs.
Festivals are different conversation because
No,
people.
I want to know the nightclub set.
Okay, nightclub, my bad.
Nightclubs, damn. Dude, I wish I had my record box here with me. You'd be like, you're not playing any Mac J stuff. I do all of every artist is their own worst critic. It's always been a thing. But over the years, my sound is too hard. It's too hard to play nightclubs nowadays. People want the very minimal drops, the
Yeah,
with like
it's
the
the
weird,
cool-
the cool stuff.
I get it.
So the older Mac J stuff, like funny enough, Hardwell and I are redoing Countdown this year, and we're gonna release it
Nice.
next year. And he's like hard techno now. He like wants that main stage techno thing, and I'm sitting there trying to produce it. And I'm like, ugh, I can't do this, dude, because I'm picturing it in my head, playing at a nightclub and seeing people in the front going, nah, next, But I think the Mac J sets now, I've like really transitioned into like really trying to be a DJ, like hard. Like I want people to have a journey. And I always go back to one set. I always watch Jazzy Jeff at Create somewhere in LA. And it was like a block party. And the way he was able to like manipulate the crowd by one acapella here, then like an instrumental from this, but then easy transition out. I had just talked to A-Track about this, and it's the same thing. It's like you want to really hype in your DJ ability. And unfortunately, no one gives a fuck. Nobody cares.
Oh man,
Wordplay,
See,
all that
this is-
stuff
this
is
is-
out the door.
This is you
For
really
my
hit
own
a pain
critic,
point right
that's
now.
me.
Yeah.
But that's me though.
I
That's
agree.
how I want to do it because I love DJing, but like I used to scratch a lot. I used to do all that stuff. No one gives a shit.
Oh, man.
That's
I don't
it.
think you realize how on fire our Instagram is on what you just said.
What do you mean?
Well,
Like
you're
the-
gonna get,
Bro,
you're gonna
I-
get sampled. Let's put it
I
that
agree
way.
with that guy's
Really?
take, though. I agree with his take, though.
Wait, this is
a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
old heads
We
are so
gotta
mad
show
about
him
it.
the dude. This
These old heads
the-
are so
do,
mad.
do you know who
about
DJ
it.
Immortal is? Immortal 305. I think he's from Miami, obviously 305. So he sampled P Mart. We talked about what do young DJs hate about old DJs? And he's like scratching first and
But he's
foremost.
not wrong, bro. They don't.
But so here's what
22.
in dance music, bro. No one's scratching. No
I
one's
just
on the
think because
mic.
people don't know how to do it. That's the thing. Like CDJs is, dude, I learned on 1200s, right?
I learned on
my
both.
Vestec. I
I
was
grew
watching
up on
Hubert,
both.
right?
Yeah.
That was my thing. But now you see a guy scratch on CDJs, it just looks weird. It just doesn't make sense. Like I really appreciate what Snake is still doing with his Serato, and he has the 1200s. It's an aesthetic look, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I wish I did that until some girl puked on my laptop, right? Like at a nightclub. Like I'm not risking that. I like coming to the club with a USB.
And you're respectful because you come from the open format world, and you know
I
how
understand.
To,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the big thing for this is like guys like TJR, A-Track, these dudes are insane turntablists. Like, not a lot of people know this. If you watch a Red Bull 3 style, like A-Track was the shit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
He
I
has
watched
the
his-
blueprint of
Bro,
freestyle.
I literally grew up on him at 11 years old doing the fucking dude. I grew up on that routine.
His Oasis
Like,
routine.
I grew up
that
on
that
that
was
routine.
fire. Like, bro, we all open format DJs.
DJs have
all-
a different
the
respect
Steely
for it.
Dan
But again,
routine.
hold on.
Oh.
DJs have
Yes.
a
Right.
different respect for it. Guys that were not paid at shows, guys that got booed, guys that would have to go to the club from 10 to 5. DJs, workhorse DJs.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's not the scene.
But I want to be an ambassador for kind of both sides of this because I even said it on Instagram a while back. Like it's a political party. DJs that give a shit about scratching and DJs that don't give a shit at all. And I think there's something in the middle. And let's talk about the consumer too. I'm trying to articulate this because there's so much to deal with now that I've seen the bonfire on the comments. But people don't realize they care if you do it really well.
Good point. So what do
Yeah.
you think
If
about
it's
James?
part-
What's James hype in this? Though?
I love it.
I'm a huge
Do you
James Hype
like
fan.
it? Have you ever seen him live?
Yes.
James as a human being is amazing. James as a DJ set. I've only seen him once. In my opinion,
People don't get it though. Like
people
what he's
don't
doing.
get it.
Like what he was doing
He's
his own intro.
insanely
He
technical,
had
and
five
I'm sitting there,
different-
I'm like, whoa, bro,
He's using
you're
every
so
He did
feature.
his intro on his 5 cue points, and I'm like, damn, it sucks. No one knows what he's doing right now. They think it's just one song.
He's using 3 songs to make a build up, and then he releases a 4th as a drop.
I could
Which
never
is
imagine
insane.
James Hype just standing behind a deck because I would think he would just get bored, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like when I was DJing, I would be like, you know what? Let me just stop. I'll do a couple baby cuts, and maybe people will be like, ooh, ah, right? Never really happened. But I had one moment at Ultra when I did that live. And, people at the time, they're like, oh, fake DJs, this and that. And I was able to prove them wrong. So there might be a moment
I think I
for
remember
it.
that.
Yeah, it was like I did-
2016.
I was the only guy bringing it. Like I brought OT Genesis out. Right?
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
feel like I do remember that.
Oh, he's not a real DJ. He's not doing quadruple click flares. I'm like, bro,
Do a kickflip.
not everything is not everything is Kubert like level, bro. Chill.
Again, CDJs were a big caveat to a lot of these guys. Like me, it was hard. I got big hands, so for me to scratch on a CDJ, there's no feel for it. And also, pioneers crossfaders suck.
Yeah.
So again, the workhorse DJs know this. The guys that literally are bedroom DJs that just go straight there to ultra main stage, they have no idea. Most of the guys, I would fuck with them and I would turn the crossfader settings to A and B, and they're like, "Why isn't there any audio?" I'm like, well, sorry. That's the idea of knowing that the game has changed a ton, but you just got to
Yeah.
adapt, right? So there are time. I mean, if I say I was a Dom Dalla and I'm, headlining every festival and I started scratching, if Dom was scratching, it would be sick. But do you think the consumer would actually understand what's going on?
See, this is where I think that when you listen to like a really good nightclub turntablist, and the example I would give is like Miles Medina. He's one of my favorite guys. It's so musical that when you listen to it, it doesn't matter what age you are, people are into it because it's not stopping anything. It's an addition to the music. Where it falls apart are the guys that are like, here, like pointing at shit, pointing to more people, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Because it's interrupting the music. When it's an addition to the music, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What is the international sign for DJ?
Wiki.
There you go.
Yeah.
So again, it's there. People understand it, but it's doing it in the right moments where it is musical and people can understand it. But where James has been able to really push himself to the limit, he's able to take multiple angles and people can see it from the crowd. He's making it part of his routine. It's just his showmanship. He's an entertainer. And he's doing insanely technical stuff where people don't really know how technical he is. It's
Right.
insane.
You don't even understand the
People
gear.
don't. DJs
Yeah.
do.
Of course
I'm talking
DJs do, but
consumers.
there's a lot of clowning. But like, oh, you don't need
I
to
don't
be.
even know. I don't know why. I'm like, bro, he's
It's
he's on
insanely
point. He's a machine.
technical.
It's all on time. Bro, it's all on time. It doesn't sound like
But think about the dynamic, because it breaks my heart reading some of the comments in James Hype's media, because especially Europeans, they can't stand him. Not all, but
when you're killing it, you're gonna have haters.
Yeah.
it's
Amen.
no question
But
about
we
it.
went from the one bumper on one side saying like DJs don't do anything on the stage. They're just standing there waving their hands around. They play a pre-recorded set. Then you get James Hype over here doing the most, and they don't like that either. So it's like, what's in the middle that will actually make consumers and DJs happy? This is the paradox that I'm dealing
I
with
don't think
right
there's no
You can never
middle
make
ground
everyone
where,
happy.
where everyone's
There's
happy.
always haters.
Yeah, always.
There's a guy out there. What was it? Oso Beats. You guys see this dude on Instagram?
You know, Oso Beats.
Oso Beats. He like
Yeah.
makes all the crazy hate for all of the artists, and it's like he's the one that was posting all those James Hype videos, and I'm just like, damn, why you gotta clown this guy so hard? Like he's actually making guys.
He
that,
puts the clown horn in there. When he's
yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen
But
that.
like, you know, when you're on the top of your game, you're gonna have people hating always.
Well,
It
the
is what it
percentage-
is.
Let's see. If you always have 5% of haters, the amount of haters goes up, but the percentage doesn't really change.
I
It's
really
just-
hope I don't get a video of Oso Beats just trashing me on this. Dude.
Oh man.
No, you make good videos, dude. It's really hard to find a middle ground. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I was like the forefront of like scratching on an EDM stage, you know. But people were booking me because I was able to play hip hop, dude. I was a resident at Dre's. I was opening up for like The Weeknd, Chris
remember
Brown, Tyga, and they're like, "What is this white guy doing here?" Straight
Isn't
up.
he EDM guy? But
He-
then
he-
they
I was
don't know
playing
your
hip-hop.
background though. I know. I was there.
It was a cool like switch, and it was like that's where I really utilized like, damn, I can make a big career out of this by being the open format guy. And that's what I did. And this is the reason why I'm still DJing, was because I was able to be a workhorse through my craft.
You reverse engineered the open format world, basically, is what you're saying. Like, basically, from like,
Sure.
like you circumnavigated, or I should say, you circumvented
Yeah.
the standard trajectory of open format, because I follow the standard format, and I got to the point where like I need to start making music, otherwise I just hit a ceiling. Versus you started making music at a very high pace, and then went back to open format as a value set, like as a value offer.
It was a business, straight up. I saw money that
you
was
had
not being made.
backdrop. 'Cause
Yeah.
you had the backdrop of people that were shackled to their set, and you could break away from it so easily. It just created so much more value. So that's huge. So you literally just pulled a reverse Uno.
I have to say thanks to like all the people that helped me. I mean, like DJ Politic was like such a big DJ Donk, DJ Politic. All these guys were the ones that really showed me how important open format is. I mean, you could literally be an open format DJ for the rest of your life. You just adapt. EDM is hard because you get stuck in one genre. Everyone only knows you for that genre. So you have to jump ship all the time and redo brands. You know how
Yeah.
hard that is?
It's so hard.
It's insanely hard. People don't believe it. Like, I don't want to start something new. It takes forever. But once someone's killing it, like, oh yeah, I was a part of that. It's like, it's
Yeah.
the same thing with any business. It takes time, it takes equity, and it takes a really good team. So big shout out to the team I've worked with for a long time,
that's
because
amazing.
they're the ones that kind of gave me the push, you know? It's like also having great people at your house. Like my chick is amazing.
Yeah.
She hates EDM, which is awesome. But
Oh,
it's,
the irony.
Yeah, she's like, what do you do? Okay, I do. You know?
Well, actually, speaking of production, this is a hot button, and I want to know your take on it, is AI. And I want you to take this wherever you want to go with it. But AI is a concern. It's a tool. And it's a luxury in some cases. How are you employing it? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Weirdly now, so again, having an amazing attorney, it's very hard to get AI through the finish line with a lot of these labels now. They have software detection, of course. If I'm bringing it back into any process, like a DAW or anything with Logic or Ableton, you can't tell. And I
Yeah.
can make, I had a good example of this where we had like 5 reiterations of a song with a cover, right? We cleared the record. It was a big cover. And we had all these 5 different, it was like Suno, La La La, all these other like reiterations. And I had to tell the label, like, no. Those are people that I hired that came to the studio and sang that. Because no demo singer was able to do what AI did, right?
Wow, okay.
And so a lot of the law hasn't been written for this, which makes it very dangerous, like very dangerous. It makes
Yeah.
it dangerous for people like me. This is my job. I make music for a living. I'm a creative. Everyone in this room is a creative, right?
Yeah.
So when you have something that's making it more practical for you, you feel guilty using it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love ChatGPT. I like, cleaning up emails and doing this. I like having ChatGPT look over, documents for me. But it's made me lazy. Amazingly lazy because I rely on it now. It's like the iPhone. It's just the same thing. It's like I have it in my hand. I can do anything in my life with this, right?
Yep.
I think it's taking it with a grain of salt and kind of adapting with it. Like, again, creative, digital design, post-production work, AI is just taking over.
When you
It's
say
scary.
it's dangerous and the laws haven't been written, are you saying that you're afraid that if you use it, that at some point down the road, labels could come back to
Correct.
you and say, "Hey, you're liable for this"?
Take it from me. Copyright law is no joke.
Yeah.
I've been in litigations. I've been sued over stuff. It's not fun. It's not cheap. It's not fun. It's one of those things where you want to cross the line with it because you know it's easier and faster. Just do the work. That's it. But again, do what you want to do, but labels are really quick. I mean, I think
Can you
Eminem.
explain a little bit more on do the work, research, like who you're sampling, how you're twisting?
But also, where's
How-
your AI extracting from? Because AI only regurgitates what it's fed. For sure. And
You have the phrase,
and
you have the
Timbaland's
prompt,
in the middle of
everything,
this right
for
now.
sure.
Yeah.
I don't personally make music, so I don't know how that works. Like, do the work. Can you explain it to like younger DJs? Because there's a lot. I feel like dance music is the bubble right now for all these young DJs. No one wants to be an open format DJ. Everybody wants to make dance music right now. So can you explain that a little bit more? Like, do the work.
I think like a lot of these labels, these independent labels, they're really looking at, they don't give a shit what they're releasing. They're just like, fuck it. If it has like a cool hook on it, let's just do it. Let's not even do the legwork. There's a lot of labels that still run that. I mean, probably 50% of the Beatport
Wow.
labels just say, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's see what happens. If someone reaches out to us, we'll take it down. I'm clearing a song with Mala and it's a Yo Gotti sample. Rake it up.
Yeah.
And
Rake
his
it up.
team is like, nah. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Dangerous.
Well, but that turns into a lot of things where I've seen and also heard demos with the original artist on it. Then all of a sudden it's reperformed.
No comment.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these, like Clooney was a big advocator of like just saying, I'm just going to release whatever I want. I mean, maybe he got it cleared. Who knows? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of big samples I know that were impossible to clear. That
Yeah.
he was
It
able
happened
to
a lot in
release.
Latin tech too.
For
All the reggaeton
sure.
stuff. I was like, how are they getting it clear? But Latin's very wishy-washy. It's more handshake than contracts.
It is,
with
yeah.
Latin.
But also think about
Yeah.
MCs, like talented MCs, like dance. Is it Dances? The guy that
I
y'all
saw.
having a good
Oh my
time
God!
out
Someone
there.
just sent
Yeah.
me that. Which he has such a distinct voice,
Yes,
right?
and I'm not going to mention their name, but he was accusing them of taking his voice when it's obviously his vibe, his
Do
tone,
that.
and
Y'all having a
everything.
good time out there? That guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
been
yeah.
sampled a million times. Like he did
The
that.
guy made his
Yeah.
intro and it was like a big
Yeah,
thing.
also, yeah.
Just say, yeah, dude, I used you as a reference. Cool. Let me take care of you. This is your life too. It's like,
Yeah.
when you
It's-
get down to someone's creative and if someone's accusing you of something, yeah, it might be super long winded, but if they have like, hey, it looks and sounds, and also it's very similar, be part of the record. What's the harm about that?
Yeah, even if it's a small piece, but at least you got acknowledged, and especially like somebody like, for example, Fat Man Scoop has such a distinctive voice.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder: is AI going to be like? Could you feed enough Fat Man Scoop into a rap and eventually have a immortal Fat Man Scoop? It's going to happen.
Do you remember back in the day?
You can do it
when
right now.
You go to E-Bomb's world and you would have soundboards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would like, who kicked my dog?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's basically what AI is for me now in the studio. I
Yeah.
have like a plethora of recut vocals from some of my most favorite MCs. And it's funny too because everyone used to always sample Little John. That was like the big room guy, you know, and I had a song with him and it was super cool. But Little John's voice now is so recognizable. He would be like, hey, dude, what are you using my voice on, even if it is fake? It's the cadence of it. It's the phrasing. That's the Fat Man Scoop thing. Eminem's the only guy right now. Maybe there might be a few other people, but Eminem, AI has been so, I would say, blistering for his career because everyone loves his tone of voice. You could put Missy Elliott and Eminem on any record and it'd sound good.
Yes.
There's no key for their vocals, right?
Right.
So Eminem started hearing a lot of his vocals on a lot of these dance records and other of these bootlegs, and he was going after the artist. He has a team and said, fuck it, I want my money. And it was
Yeah.
AI. And remember when Guetta posted that thing saying, nobody likes techno, let's go. Remember
Yeah.
that vocal? They never released it for that reason because it was too sketchy. It was AI.
Whoa.
So again, like there's a dangerous aspect to it. Don't get me wrong. I use AI for a lot of things. I'm not going to say I don't use it. I like it.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's a practicality for me. But for production and getting it across the finish line, my lawyer would be really mad if I said if I used AI to do a whole record, because that's when you start rolling the dice big time.
Oh, and also I think that for me, I think the brightest point for AI is like melodic structure, or even just coming up with MIDI and giving you some ideas, like a power chord. Like, hey, I want a A minor power chord that progresses a certain way. It can do that for you. And I'm not very good on a piano. I just know how to do certain key melodies, but I don't know how to make a power chord. That's where it's like, okay, that's pretty dramatic when I can be told how this progression is supposed to go, and then I can manipulate it the way I want. It's still my artistry. It just gets me through a really tough point in my production process. So that's really, I think there are some really optimistic things, but I think legal precedent, do you think it's going to happen quickly? I mean, are they working as fast? Like, just talk to your lawyer.
Yeah.
Is legal precedent actually prioritizing this?
I don't have a degree. Don't quote me on any of this, but from the business that I've been running with production work and working on, big campaigns and working with these big major brands, they don't want anything to do with AI, especially within post-production work. It's like
look at Amazon.
I'm going to sell my NVIDIA stock.
They're literally going after, there's all these guys that are releasing these books to Amazon and selling them, and Amazon's going after them because ChatGPT wrote them. And now they're going, they have programs now that identify it. They're going after them. These are like bestsellers. These guys are making millions of dollars.
It speaks
and
to
they're
me.
going after
Whoa.
them.
I had a release, I had a collaboration with a guy, and it was on a big notable label. And this is first year AI was like a thing, like ChatGPT-1, right? And the artwork that he created was from a creative company. It was a big, high-paying creative company. I mean, they're paying probably 15, 20 grand a month. And so they sent us the artwork, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like very not CGI, but kind of CGI. And it kind of hit all marks on what we wanted to release. And I'm like, whoa, that was like an hour. Who's your graphics designer? That's amazing, right? Lo and behold, we got an email back from the label, and they're like, yeah, it's AI. What are you guys doing? Like, we can't touch this. Redo it. And that's when I started to see the demise of like creatives in the space. And it was sad because, again, the label was able to detect it, and they was able to say, no. But again, if you took a Suno song and you brought it into Logic, Ableton, Cubase, whatever you use, and you manipulated it, like you're saying with your MIDI and whatever, and you made it your own, nobody will ever know.
Right.
That's the dangerous part of it.
Yeah.
Do I think that it's going to have longevity? For sure. It's because people are fucking lazy, man.
But what about the anti-culture of it, though? Because I feel like there's this strong
How are you going to know if
anti-culture.
it's anti-culture? Who's going to tell you it's not? If some guy is getting paid hourly, of course they're not going to use AI. They're going to sit there. They might say, you know what? I'm going to sit there and say I did this for 5 or 6 hours. But if a guy has a project deadline that he has to hit and he's getting paid on a salary, for sure he's using AI.
Yeah.
It's just common sense when it comes down to laziness. It's crazy.
But I just wonder if there can end up being some sort of paramount lawsuit where essentially criminalizes AI to the point where it becomes taboo, and it could actually almost like put a really bad stain on even being able to access it.
Sure.
I'm just wondering if it could get that big or out of hand. Because imagine if like a Sony Entertainment, where they're like a massive movie holder, or something like Lucasfilm, where they find it valid enough where, hey, if you're able to make a Star Wars with one computer and about 15 hours of processing time, we've got a problem.
For sure. It is.
And I'm just wondering if they have a problem with it well enough, it could actually shut down the whole idea of AI.
Well, look at Netflix. Netflix had just literally came out 2 weeks ago and said, you want to make a movie? You can't use AI. Like it's anything that's submitted.
That's anti-culture.
You
My
can
opinion, that's
tell,
anti-culture.
you can really tell, because it's not to the point where AI is so undetectable, but I feel like everyone's numb to it at this point.
Yeah.
So what was the ChatGPT editing? What was it called? Sora?
Sora.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sora.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that's like a big conspiracy theorist, and he's like Alex Jones. He goes like hard, and then you're like, nah, but he's right about one of the 100 things, and you're like, you're a genius, bro.
He might be crazy, but he's not wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he was right about this, because I really like sat back and I was like, man, he's kind of right about this. But what he was saying about how Sora was it came out hot, It was everywhere on everyone's feed. The algorithm was like, but they were watermarking everything, so you knew it was AI. But you know, a couple of my friends are a little older. You know, they're like, Mac, look at, there's a chimpanzee wrestling with an alligator.
Tupac's alive.
Yeah.
It's undetectable to a lot of people. You have to remember, like, we're on our phones every single day.
It's getting better every single day.
It is.
Well, you know,
Remember the Will Smith eating spaghetti?
Oh yeah,
Dude.
Where like the spaghetti could go through his face because it could but he was learning. And every month it got better. They kept doing the Will Smith eating spaghetti litmus test. And now, it looks
look
like
at
it's
Coca-Cola.
legit.
Coca-Cola has literally come out and they said their whole entire Christmas campaign. Last year they spent $27 million, 2 years ago they spent $27 million on their Christmas campaign. Last year they made the whole thing in AI and it was terrible and they got tons of backlash. This year they came out, they redid the whole thing with no people, but it's all AI, and they spent $1 million. And so for them, they're like, yeah, we're going to keep going because it's
because it's like animation. Because I think the biggest downfall so far has been like computer animation. I feel like it's so good, it's so fast. Because like Toy Story 1 was animated in a warehouse with like 15,000 iMac or Power Mac G3s, and one cell took 12 hours or something ridiculous like that. So to actually make the entire movie, because it's 24 cells per second. And so you could probably reanimate Toy Story 1 in approximately 30 seconds with a decent computer. That's
but doesn't that make you feel like you're lazy though? Because you have the tools literally at your fingertips now.
Yeah.
And that's the difference,
But
right?
is culture and art going to elevate despite, because, okay, so we have all this extra time as creatives. Is the art going to get that much better, or are we going to become lazy? There's this like counterbalance.
Well, that's the perfect question to ask him because he's
So
literally using the tools
Are we
to
becoming
create.
superhuman, or are we becoming super lazy?
I mean,
And this is the human condition here.
do you want
do
my
you think
Alex
it's-
Jones?
I want to hear Alex Jones.
Well, has it made you more creative? Has AI helped you?
That's a good question, though.
Yeah.
Has it made me more creative? It's helped me in some ruts, especially the vocal processing. Like the harmonies, the vocal processing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, whoa, I could never get this out of a demo singer.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, like I like getting in the studios. I like comping vocals, not really, but I like getting into a studio and like meeting people, shaking hands, and like saying, "Cool, let's see your talent." But when you can do it in 25 seconds and have harmonies that are 10 times better, that didn't take you 15 hours to cut, you're not using it at the final vocal or final
But your
piece of
scratch
art.
track supreme. Like,
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're able to use the tools and do it in your own creative way, so be it. I was the most anti-AI forever. I was like a purist. And it made me kind of sound like I was a little stuck behind the edge, right? But there's a certain threshold that I have that I will say, no, I won't do it. I still use all of my own creative guys. So like all my digital marketing, I've been using the same guy since day one. He's a Portuguese kid. And he's amazing. He's made all of my artworks. I'm talking spring and countdown, everything. He's made them. And I keep him on my payroll because we've built such an amazing relationship over the years and he understands me.
Yeah.
A computer doesn't understand me.
Right.
It sounds
That's-
fucking cyborgy, but yeah.
No, but
So
it's very
do you
true.
think that like so you and I went to Icon Creative to learn how to produce music. Now would you go to Icon Collective to learn how to master music because AI is helping you produce it?
Absolutely not. I went to Icon because I was stuck where I didn't understand how to open up Logic. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to drag shit in. A computer can teach me. I can watch a YouTube video and get that done. But again, this is a different time. But nowadays, unfortunately, Icon's not there anymore. But the thing is, like with these production schools, is I don't really think they're teaching people the values of what this business actually has to offer. It's make music. Who do you want to be? Skrillex, John Summit. What then? What then? Where are you going to go after that? Are you going to DJ? Are you going to be a live performer? Or do you want to work in the post-production era? Do you want to work for Hans Zimmer? Do you want to do like movies, TV scores? Nobody teaches you this.
Yeah.
It's like you make the right moves and hopefully your left foot goes in front of your right foot and you find the door, right? The problem is nowadays, if you are a bedroom producer and you're constantly releasing music and you're not using these tools to your benefit, you're gonna be far behind. So that's my AI take. If you're not using it, you're gonna be left behind.
To ask a question about that, all these guys releasing music, you don't have to give the free game out, you're marketing behind it. Getting influencers, like when you're releasing a record.
Sure.
What is the Mag J? Because I'm sure you have to change
Nowadays,
that.
it's like, I don't do that anymore. That's a funny thing. It's a great question. I have fallen.
Marketing is, if you have a great product but no one sees it, It's right here. Nobody can see it.
I think
right?
you know, this is gonna.
You have to get free game,
This is muddy waters for me. I think influencers are the biggest waste of time and money.
I just said influencers like TikTok influencers, getting it in front of the right people, your friends. Those friends are for sure. I'm just
depends the product. If my chick is like, "Hey, babe, this new Korean skincare product I saw on Instagram Reel, I just bought it." Different product. But to sell music now, no one wants to see my song is coming out in 2 weeks. Click this pre-save link. Hey, bro, if you don't have content for me right now, I don't give a shit. That's the big thing. If you're the only way my career ever blew up was because I was giving away free stuff. People love free shit. When you go to a baseball game or a basketball game and that guy comes out with the big cannon with the free t-shirts.
Yeah.
You know that dude just spent $500 to sit in the seat, right?
Yeah.
But he's so stoked on a $5 t-shirt.
Yep.
It is such a weird, humanizing thing to see that, but that is how drug dealers become drug dealers, and they sell content. We're drug dealers, dude.
Yeah.
We're legalized drug dealers.
Dopamine hits.
We need content, and we
Yeah.
need dopamine, and we need people to say, I really like this person. I want to follow this person. Do you know how hard it is to get a follow? It's insane. Unless you're not giving constant free stuff. Shout out to The Hills. These kids are insane right now. They're The Hills, the producers.
Yeah, yeah.
They had a career before. I'm not going to say their names, but they were also other DJs that have been in the game forever. And there's two of them. They're great dudes, but they understand the system. They understand they need to be constantly on the blogs. They need to be constantly giving out free music. It doesn't matter how much time it takes them. It's pump and dump in the best way possible because that's how stuff is grown now.
No, that's amazing.
Amen.
The
Wow.
psychology is understanding
crazy.
it. Yeah.
I mean, it just takes time. It takes a lot of. I messed up a lot in my career. I wish.
But you learned.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, this cliche thing is you learn from your shit. I definitely learned from my shit. I spent a lot of money in bad lawsuits. I ruined friendships because my ego was super high. It's like
I was gonna ask about that, like checking the ego. But go ahead.
Yeah, an ego. I feel
mean-
like for every artist, because you got to remember, like some artists at their peak, they're making a lot of money. That really screws with someone. That's not just DJs. That's just every profession.
The human nature, the human brain.
For
Yep.
sure. But
Of
what
course.
happens after that money starts running dry? What then? Who's going to help you invest it?
Yes.
Where are you going to put your money? Are you
Or the fame, or the festivals calling back and stuff like that.
It's like, were you a good person going to the festival? Did you shake hands? Did you say thank you? Thank you goes a long ways.
When your real friends disappear and you're surrounded by everyone else, then what happens?
The goons,
Right?
man.
Yeah,
you pay for
yeah.
the goons. That
snakes
come
and
with
snakes.
you.
It's true.
Well, I mean, hey, it's like it is what it is. I feel like you learn from, having again great people on your team, but you also learn from just the history of where you're at in your life and just the bad decisions you made, and that makes you your character. But the best thing I ever did when I was trying to get booked on EDC, and I've only said this a couple of times. There's this dude named Dave Ralph, and Dave Ralph he used to work at a club in Boston called Royale, and he was a booker
Yeah,
from there.
I played there.
Yeah. And Dave Ralph was like the OG.
Yeah.
And so one of the first times I met Dave, my agent, Alex Jakin, great dude, he was like, hey, Dave doesn't drink. He's like sober. I'm like, oh cool, well, whatever. Fine. I saw how important this was when after he booked me, we went down, I was staying at the W in Boston, and we go down to the bar, and he meets me there, and he orders a tea, whatever, this and that. I was like, oh, cool. I'm drinking, whatever. We're sitting at the bar. He's like, okay, you want to go to the club? Cool. A couple weeks go by. Christmas was right around the corner. I bought him a tea box. I was always booked at EDC. Small gestures go a very long
People
way.
need patience. People need that has to be a highlight clip.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if you write, my girlfriend, fiance now, she is amazing about having me write letters to people.
Like handwritten?
Handwritten.
Yeah.
It
So
goes a
big.
long way. So
That is nice when you
The power of
So-
and
thank
not
you.
not the other one where
So
you can
big.
copy and paste it.
No.
Yeah.
Like she got me a stationery.
Yeah.
It's like my handwriting looks like a little kid, but it's the thought. Like her grandma's super old school, and that's one of the first things. Like I was really, really proud of myself for writing a letter, and I really made it a point to get it across that finish line. AI can't do that for you. It could help you, but it will never be humanizing like that.
Yeah, because these young kids, they think they could just DM and everything social. You gave the human aspect, the human experience of writing a letter, giving that guy the tea box. Like that's old school. So that these young,
That really does, like in any profession, like
Yeah.
my ex-girlfriend worked for like a big liquor company, and she like those big fancy bottles of whiskey, like the Glenfiddich or whatever, those 50 years. It's amazing how many of those go out in the city. because those are all thank you bottles for something. High rollers. This is in any industry. And, it's different levels, but it all comes back down to the human gesture of it because it's being thoughtful. It doesn't matter how much your budget is, taking the time to reach out and show appreciation because these people made you money. These people paid your bills.
Point, dude.
It takes what? How long did it take you to order that box and send it over? 30 minutes?
20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah. So they get that is money and time well spent on both sides.
But
Yeah.
also,
crazy. That's a good.
You paid attention. You nailed the one part of his life that was important to him. That's why he remembered
Yeah.
it.
And
That's
you're a big
also
ass DJ. Your ego was checked. Like, okay,
Extra
I'm still
credit.
a big
That's
DJ.
extra
but-
credit.
It's
Yeah.
a crazy check.
Producer/producer.
The ego for me was hard for a long time, and it's funny because again, like I was thrown into a situation where I was like, dude, I was making like $400 a month. I was like, what is this? This is fake life, DJing everywhere. My body, I was like all skinny and gross. I had no friends, like literally zero friends. The only friends I had were the people I was paying to hang out with me, the goons.
Drinking at the club and just.
That was my life. My life was on planes, knowing the flight attendants. Like it was gross.
Whoa.
Going to
Whoa.
the cities and like going to these hotels, having like a high status at Marriott Bonvoy. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, I'm a loser, dude. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It's like you get to plan like Thanksgiving and family time. For me, the older I get, the more I realize how important my family is.
Yes.
And me 10 years ago, I was like, fuck my family. And that is where my whole mentality changed.
Yeah.
Where if I'm in any sort of pickle, no pun intended, I'm in a situation where I have to call someone. Who am I calling? I'm calling my parents.
Yeah.
Like, who are the homies? Who are the ride or dies? If I was gonna try to get bailed out of jail, who am I calling? You're not calling your tour manager. You're not calling your videographer. You know what I mean? Unless you've really made it a point to befriend them as humans.
Well, actually, this is a great way to bookend this entire discussion. We've talked about an incredible amount of to-dos, but I think mental health in the DJ community is kind of a hot topic right now. How do you identify burnout, and what is a way to deal with it as a very busy person that has so much going on?
Especially in a capitalist society too.
Fitness. I never thought I would ever say that. My parents were very healthy, but my parents got divorced when I was a kid, super young. So my dad was polar opposite to my mom. So I got to see unhealthy dad, super healthy mom. Like my mom's a beast, Ironman winner, like crazy lady. So polar opposites, like Mickey Mouse waffles, granola. So I got to learn really quickly, like what my body was reacting to. And so that was one of the best things when I was traveling a lot. There's not a lot of good food when you travel. You're paying a lot for really good stuff, but when you're in and out of cities, most of the time, most DJs will just go hotel food. They'll order shitty, like they'll Uber Eats, Postmates, and it's like trash. And that you're putting that into your body, right? And so you're gonna feel like shit if you're eating shit. And it's common sense. But nowadays, it's a lot more apparent that health and wellness is a huge thing because everyone's on TikTok, everyone sees these new trends. But back in the day, it was non-existent. You'd go into stores, you never see people looking at the back labels and stuff. But the biggest move for me for the years was I stopped drinking at shows. Like that was so widely apparent how bad that was on my body. I remember not eating for 2 days straight because I was just hungover, and I was just taking like Motrins because I was just hungover and I would just constantly keep drinking. I was a guy going on an American Airlines flight being like, let me get a Bloody Mary today or a Tito soda. Like disgusting. I was like,
You keep it going because you're so
because otherwise you go into
Right,
the
yeah.
shakes.
I thought that was it. I'm not saying by any means I was an alcoholic or I had a problem, but at the same time, I fucking did. I was at a point where it was free. It was given to me at any. Hey, can I get this or can I? My rider was this, and then I
And the
realized
best shit too.
the best shit.
Ben,
Whatever I wanted.
yeah.
Whatever I wanted.
I didn't have a problem. It was a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably one of the easiest. We talked about something the very first podcast we ever had with Vice, and just talking about like the self-realization of we never drank at home. It was just when we were at work. We're just
I don't even have liquor at my house, but I go to the club.
The
we don't have
irony.
a drinking problem. I don't drink at home.
The irony, right?
Yeah.
And imagine saying that comment to your friends that are like bankers and stuff. Like, you only drink at work. Huh?
So it's the vicariousness, right? So you see a lot of guys that have these corporate jobs, and they're sitting there like, "Oh my God, you're a DJ. You must get this or that, and you know what this is." And it's like it's the stigma. where it's you get everything on a silver platter. It's not DJs, it's entertainers, right? And yeah, it was great, but you have to realize that you're doing that consecutively over years. And just like flying isn't fun anymore. It's like
I hate flying.
It's just
man.
when you compile all of it at one given time, then you go home to an empty house and you're like, damn, what am I doing?
Yeah.
The mental health thing kind of comes into fruition once all the stars align and you're like, damn, now I really need to see who I am. And I had a moment like that for like 2 years. I had a really good life coach. He really put me in the way and he was like, hey bro, like get your endorphins up, go work out. Like try that, and so
It's not dopamine, endorphins.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
There is a difference. Wow, that's a good one. Yep.
It's been it's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle now.
Yes.
So my chick and I are very adamant. We work out every single day, no matter what. And knock on wood, I haven't been sick in forever. I don't take any foreign subjects I put in my body, and it's just.
Yeah.
Small things over age.
Exercise is like the ultimate healer, and just giving yourself a break from things that can make you sick. I learned that because I went through a lot of dietary issues over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I lost literally like 30 pounds in a matter of 45 days just by changing some very specific behaviors. And it literally, I think it's probably added 10, 20 years. It was because I quit drinking for the most part. And it's just eating the right things.
For sure.
And it's, like you said, it's fuel. And they talk about the cumulative effect of doing the wrong things when you're on tour, when you're in hotel rooms eating. Hot Cheetos was my favorite thing after the club.
I was about to say, you couldn't have done this lifestyle traveling.
Oh my God.
Just Cheetos and Fritos with 4 Reese's peanut butter cups.
He's like going more into it. The most unhealthiest I've ever been was when I went to Icon. Because I was just going to the studio every single day. I was like smoking cigarettes and going to Trader Joe's and getting the blocks of brie cheese. Dude, I was so fire. I was so gross. Marlboro Reds and a block of brie cheese.
Reds? Oh, man.
A quarantine circle around you.
God.
I remember walking. This was early Icon too. It was a smaller school. It wasn't like this big. It was.
I'm just picturing this.
I was trying to be Justice. I was literally trying to be a French DJ.
Strong, bro. That's like, bro, I'm a 45-year-old man, and I get
it's gross. No, everyone took me seriously when I busted that Marlboro Red pack out.
Hell yeah, bro. Once you hit,
He's gonna make some bangers today.
once I see that with the Reds, not even menthol, I'll be like, bro, this guy.
I can't. So I used to
No filters.
I used to chew a lot too. But in my hometown, it's like it's an agriculture.
I know San Luis Obispo. I know
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I know what's
An
that.
agriculture town. Everyone fucking has a long cut in their mouth, and so like as a kid, I was like, oh, I'm a cool guy. Let me do it.
Yeah.
If someone brought in this room, if they were chewing any sort of tobacco, I'd for sure throw up. Like long cut grizzly, like the wintergreen.
Yeah, I was in the military.
my goodness, got the
Everybody just
fiberglass
loves
in
me,
it.
dog.
I
Nasty.
smelled fake mints.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, I think that's. I think there's a lesson to be learned. I think there's a consistency between a lot of people that have been on these timelines. The way we have is we go through these cycles, the invincibility cycle, and then you go into the suffering cycle, and then the realization of it, and then the healing process. And I think it's really, there's a lot of congruency in the entertainment industry in that way. And I've seen a lot of very successful people go through these ups and downs. And I think it's like when you talk about a life coach, it doesn't have to be Tony Robbins. Just somebody that you can trust that sees things from a third person perspective, even to come back full circle.
Even your girl. I'm
Homies
sure
that
your
are
girl
honest.
helps you a lot.
Straight up.
My wife helped me out a lot.
Need that third person
my wife
perspective.
saved my life. Yeah, straight up.
Amen.
So I really I genuinely appreciate hearing all of this because there's so many, obviously very unique factors to your life, but there's some congruencies that I think we all share. And it's just good to know that we're definitely not alone on these roller coaster rides.
No, talking about it's great, but at the same time, we look at a computer screen all day.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Oh, I saw that you talked about this. The grace.
Weirdly,
the
I got
grayscale.
a lot of push on that. It was like I was trying it for a while. It's just
What was
because-
it? I'm sorry.
So basically, on your phone, there's a filter section where you can change your phone into just doing black and white.
Okay.
So you're not getting that dopamine rush of color. And for me, it was huge because I'm literally all day long looking at a computer screen. And if that's not, if that's not working on music, I'm eating and I'm watching a YouTube video. It's wild how reliable we are on this. And so I needed to kind of take my screen time down tenfold. And I turned my screen on a grayscale where basically I was like, why am I watching this in black and white? And it made me less attracted to it. So when I asked you about your kids and what animation they watch, you would be insanely surprised if you put your screen to black and white, how like little attention they would put onto it. It's wild. I'm not an advocator on a green screen filter or anything. I'm not an ad right now, but it helped my life out.
No, but it's a technique, and you try it out. I mean, I never knew about this, so you opened my eyes on it, and it really does make sense. It's the making our, I call it the ankle bracelet. Like it's basically was what it is at this point. Our phones are our ankle bracelet. We need for everything.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without it. So if you make it just a little bit less attractive to stare at, like a pacifier for every single waking moment that you're not occupied by something else, other stimuli, it really does. I think it would work for me, and I still have to try that out.
I think one of the last thing here is like we're back on the mental health thing. I think, I'm not a Joe Rogan here going to tell you to do X, Y, and Z. There are a lot of different people that will tell you what works for them. It's figuring out literally what works for you. Mm-hmm. That could be exercising. That could literally just be sitting in a sauna every single day. It could be getting someone new in your life, someone that teaches you a different perspective on life.
Yes.
It's taking a walk every day. It's breaking that routine that is causing you the problem. And that's awareness, and so
sometimes you don't know what your routine is. Like you just kind of go through it, and you have to actually analyze it, like actually journal every hour of your day what you did, and you start to see those commonalities and break the cycle and do one thing different and see if that actually is therapeutic or detrimental.
You take a shower, you're drying yourself off the same way you do every single day.
Every single day. There's a point where I don't even record my mornings in my brain anymore. Sometimes I forget that I put shampoo in my hair already.
We're in the Matrix, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because you just go into this treadmill, like in the night. Like, because I have a routine Monday through Friday for the most part, and my mornings are literally zombie mode because I'm not a morning person in the first place. So I'm not recording anything. So I something literally just changing one thing, like drink a tall glass of water right the minute you put your feet on the ground. That could change everything. Hydration, what a concept.
That's why you gotta have a chick telling you what to do.
I have
Straight up.
one last question regarding mental health. We're wrapping it up. My bad. Was I don't know what the syndrome is called. Where you don't, because you went from open format DJ. You said making $400K a month, and just traveling, doing all this stuff. Did you ever once? What's the syndrome called? Where I don't belong here. Like why did God give me this? Or like
imposter syndrome.
That's what it's called.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, like man, I'm at this height of this career. Or did you tell yourself, no, I worked my ass off? Or like I think because we're human,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a side of me saying sometimes I really wish I smelled the grass on the other side of the hill, where the grass is always greener, right?
Where you water it, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So my big thing was for the years that it was like fruitful, everything was going well, I never gave bonuses to the people that helped me out the most. That's where my ego lied. I was so frugal, and I was like, I can do this myself. But in reality, I couldn't. And that's when it flipped me. So back in the day, old Mackenzie, when I was doing that, I thought I deserved the world. I thought I was number one ever, and I was super egotistical, and it was bad. And admitting that now is fine, it's a different part of my life, but, I really got to witness so many other DJs being complete dickheads, and I go, damn, I don't want to be like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking, the fucking CO2 isn't working. I turned the lights on in this place. What is this? And the promoter's just like, dude, we're here every night, man. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I never want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So it was just experience for the longest time. But those bonuses started to come even when I was not making any money. I was paying my team when I shouldn't even be paying them, because I knew that I hate to say money makes the world go round, right? And it's something that keeps comfort in a lot of workplaces. So when you're able to kind of give people a bonus, a Christmas bonus when they least expect it, it's wild. The mentality of like, wow, this is like family. Like we're in this together. But when it's thick and thin, you'll see who the true homies are.
Yeah, it's huge. No, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of life lessons here because, music connects people, but business keeps them together.
For sure.
It's interesting when you have that IQ, because there's so many talented guys out there have that zero business sense, and they just don't have the longevity. And it breaks my heart to hear those stories along the way. And then there's some really good business people that barely know music, and they're super successful.
It's crazy, right? It's a business, though. Like
I think it's business first.
It's
music second.
It's business first. I'm advocating on this hard. It's working with a great team, but it's business first, and it's understanding what the path you want to take. If you're going down a path and saying, I want to be this person and I want to reference this, you'll never make it. There's already one of those guys. So making references of music, if you're going to start making music and you're like, I want to have this sound and do this and do that, but it's already done, I just want to create it and copy it. What are you doing? Like, that's not the right way. There's, this cliche Steve Angelo's thing, make something that's different. But different's the hardest thing you could do.
Yes. There's
It
no
is
blueprint.
so hard. And it sounds so easy. I can just make this kick do this. But no, you're going to be like, it's not playable. I'm not going to make an opera song. You know what I mean? So there are moments where luck comes out of the corner when you least expect it. People come and go in your life, and it's very transactional business. I mean,
I have one last question before, because I think we're running out of hard drive space. What's your prediction for 2026 with electronic music?
open-ended. I think it's old with new. I think people want that. Do you guys remember when you first listened to like a chord progression and it was like, oh God, like you get the goosebumps and that feeling you get, like looking at Calvin Harris Summer.
Yeah.
I hear that song and I remember where I was.
Avicii Levels.
Same shit.
Oh, man.
God.
Same shit. I could be in any room if that comes on and I'm like, oh, take me back to that place,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What song nowadays does that to you?
It's all bass lines.
Zero, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Production quality in the last couple of years, at my pinnacle moment of my career, it was the loudest I've ever heard electronic music. It was like the louder big room, like WMW was just like, bah!
Yep.
Nowadays, it's like minimal, easy. Production quality has kind of been kicked out the window. It's about the ideas and about the track support, the big guys playing it and what it does. Because most songs nowadays, to be honest, they all sound like shit. And it doesn't matter because it's content that is always going to be in front of you because that's all people know. Most of the songs I do now for people, I don't mix and master them. It's the first renditions. It's crazy. Wow. And they don't give a shit because they need a song every week.
Yeah, so it's like popcorn. It's just another
sad.
bite.
It's sad. So sorry, back to your
It just makes
question.
my heart bleed.
Yeah, I mean, back to the question about what 2026 is going to hold. It's old and new, but what was the breakthrough artist this year? Max Styler, great, awesome, amazing producer. Next year, I just don't think that electronic DJs have this. There's already John Summits, there's Dom Dollars that are doing the right things business-wise. They're making their own festivals. Insomniac has this very big stronghold on the community where they can blow up any artist they want because, they built this
Or
huge...
maintain, not just blow up. Yeah.
They can build and maintain artists, which that's, I guess, what you would want.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
But again, I just think that people are always going to be looking at who's playing Ultra, who's playing EDC.
Disco Lines kind of came out of nowhere, from my perspective. He was like the new kid on the block. I mean, he's probably not new, but he broke through, and that was kind of like the Disco Line sound, all of that acidy, rolling synth.
Sure.
that was different.
Yeah.
and he doesn't sound really like anybody else. But
It's
it
Murph
fits the
too.
Dom Dollars.
It's Murph has a very distinct sound,
Yes,
and
yes.
he probably takes references from the Fred Agains and this and that. But do you remember how popular Fred Again was? Ooh. And then it just dipped.
Yeah, like what was that?
That's the problem.
Yeah, from Coachella to just.
But I heard he's still getting super top end rates when he performs.
He's crushing still, but it's
But the buzz.
It's the less of people actually going, what is this new thing?
Right.
They're just it's hard to maintain. It's just really hard to maintain. And then these big EDM artists are like,
But
I'm
you
gonna
got somebody like-
retire, and you're like, nah, bro, please don't. Because it's not sustainable. Who's
Yeah.
gonna care when you come back?
well, because
That's
like
how
somebody
fast
like
everyone moves.
Hardwell, like because he kind of faded away for a while.
He had to go alias, right? Do techno. I think Hardwell went techno.
No. Hardwell has just always been Hardwell, but like
If he has an alias that went techno because techno trended.
well, Hardwell just stopped.
He just stopped. He had mental health issues. He was just like, I'm out. Danny Avila started crushing it hard.
Somebody went techno. I
Because
guess
he was really
The
open.
Yes Bitch
Yeah, he
came
did all
out.
that. Hunter's Hunter Siegel, which I
Yeah.
don't know a lot of people know that. Hunter Siegel is an amazing producer. The Casablanca guys are super cool. But
And
26.
there is a little bit of a paper shuffle with branding here because like if you really know the business, like which is like for me a lot of them slip through for me too. But there's so many good aliases. Like or let's say somebody was like a trap god for a while back in 2013. Then they evolved into another guy. I mean, Gordo is a famous example of this.
Dude, look at R.L. Grime.
Yeah.
R.L. Grime was clockwork. One of the best, amazing
Oh, yeah,
electronic
I forgot
producers
about that.
ever.
Ever.
And then he's
Yeah.
like, screw it. I'm killing it as clockwork, but I'm going to start this side trap thing, and it crushed.
And
It's
it
all
was
brand-
timing was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, I got but then you have somebody like Dylan Francis, who's, as far as I know, has always just been Dylan Francis, but he keeps morphing. He did the Moomba thing, and then he does progressive dance, and he works with other artists to kind
Yeah.
of rebrand a little bit. So he uses like a hinge artist that's known for one thing, and then he pivots over to that for one feature. So I think that's a clever move too. You kind of
That's called open
trapeze.
format, by the way.
Yeah.
That's open
Absolutely.
format. So there you go.
I love
it's
open format production.
we're ended on this one. Open format definitely saved my life for sure.
Amen.
It made me who I am today for sure.
I love that. And, and I think there was a lot of game in this episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to write this down.
Yeah, so seriously, we need a transcript of this episode. So Mac J in the building with us
Yes,
today.
sir.
I genuinely appreciate your time.
Thanks,
and like,
Sean.
I've been a huge fan of your career since
Same
the
here.
beginning. So
Thank
salute
you.
to
I
you.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Until the next one. Shout out to producer Kellen.
Yeah.
There it is.
Late night legends, late night legends. Direct from Vegas, it's the late night legends. Late night legends, late night legends. Club killers, let's go. Late night legends, late night legends. Direct from Vegas, the world famous Club Killers crew.